Hello there everybody, this is Dax, getting a very late start, so we'll see if I cut this video short or make it full length. I just finished doing my editing of the video for the week, getting ready to post it tomorrow when I wake up and after I've listened to it to make certain that I'm happy with the overall quality. But because of that, it's currently 3 a.m. And to be perfectly honest, the only reason why I'm even outside recording one of these is because it is such a beautiful night. I felt like I would be letting myself down if I didn't get out and try this while the weather is still so good. At the time of this recording, it is fall, and so who knows how many more nights of nice weather we'll have. For all I know, it could turn very cold, very rainy or windy very quickly. So, I'm out enjoying this while I can. So it's been a crazy day. Family came over and visited. Love those people, but it's always hectic when they're here. And also when they're here, I don't really have the time to step aside and do work on this stuff. It kind of requires me to sit there in a bubble and just listen to the recording over and over while I edit it. And, it's kind of rude when you've got guests over. Next weekend's also going to be a tough one time-wise. But I am happy with the way that these recordings are coming along. An animal just crossed the road up there ahead of me. I'm guessing it's a possum, but there's a possibility it's an armadillo. Well, it's a possum all right. He just decided to cross the street again right in front of me. Wonder what that animal totem represents. The clouds are forming an interesting formation in the sky. The clouds tonight are really high up in the air. These are not low-hanging precipitation clouds, whatever the proper terminology is for that. These are ice crystal clouds. They're way high up in the atmosphere, very wispy, and they're up there forming lines and curves. There's a cloud right above my head that is shaped like a giant letter S. Earlier today, about the time that the sun first went down, I looked up in the sky and I noticed that there were chemtrails just all over the place. They were forming a checkerboard pattern across the sky. Fortunately, those trails are gone now. What's up there now is all natural, all beautiful, all the way it's supposed to be. I've got a story on my mind that I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to tell you right now. I'm thinking it might be better to reserve this story for another time. It is late enough in the day that I don't want a story like that to be affecting my thoughts when I lay down to go to sleep. It's a story about something that I saw once, and that's just not the energy that I want to be in when I go to bed. I'm hoping to have a nice, refreshing sleep tonight. We are told to never go to sleep angry. And in general, people will acknowledge this, mainly because we've been told it so many times. But they'll go to bed angry anyway, because they don't understand what the comment is actually about. You see, the last thought that you have before you go to sleep has a profound effect on your psychology. To put things in metaphysical terms, you are actually putting a spell on yourself every night before you go to sleep. This is unavoidable. The last thought that you have programs your psychology for the following night and day. People don't seem to understand this. They'll go to bed angry anyway because they're tired. But you are programming your mind. You're casting a spell on yourself with your final thought. So it's very important that you never go to sleep angry. You're better off not going to sleep if the alternative is to go to sleep angry. And I'm not just talking about anger here. It's true of all emotions. That's the main reason why I don't really want to share this story with you this late in the evening. Because I'm going to be going to bed pretty much as soon as I get home. And I don't want to cast that kind of a spell on myself. So yeah, I've decided I'm going to hold off on telling you this story until a later time. Instead, I think I'm going to think about sunshine and sandy beaches. The weather right here, right now, is so beautiful that it's pretty easy for me to pretend that I'm someplace tropical. What are your dreams? What do you dream about? What do you most want out of life? It's a very important question. And it's a question that we far too often allow someone else to hijack the answer of. And what I mean by that is we allow other people to dictate our wishes to us. Be it a parent or a friend or simply an authority figure. That's one of the huge dangers of falling in with a cult, is that the cult leader gets to hijack the dreams of all the people who follows them. So it's very important that whatever answer you have for the question, what do you want? It must be your answer. It needs to be your answer. It needs to come from your heart, not your mind, because your mind doesn't actually know what you want. Your mind is not nearly as intelligent as it thinks it is. Your mind is there for the purpose of solving problems. Your mind is not there for the purpose of being in charge. So look into your heart and find out what it is that you really want. It's one of the most important questions you could ever ask yourself. I still spend a great deal of time asking myself what it is that I want. What do I want? And sure, everybody wants someone who loves them and understands them. So there's that desire. Some people want someone to love them and understand them because they're single and they're alone and they simply have that void to fill. Other people want someone who loves them and understands them because, well, even worse, they're in a relationship with someone who just does not love them or understand them, or at least they don't feel that way. When it comes to relationships, oftentimes it's what you feel that's more important than the reality. Occasionally, a very lucky few people have what everyone else wants. But then there are the people, I'm tempted to call them the luckiest people of all, but it's not luck. It's emotional training. These are the people who have discovered they are the source of their own happiness. They don't sit around hoping or wishing that they'll find someone to complete them because they know they are already complete. Not very many people out there like this at all. But I'm going to go on ahead and call them the lucky ones, even though there is no luck to it. They've simply learned. They've learned that they are complete without any help. But when I ask you to ask the question, what do you want? I'm not just talking about love. I'm not just talking about a relationship. I'm not just talking about any one thing in particular, to be honest. You can take the question to mean love or a relationship. If you really feel deep down in your heart that that's what the question's about. If you do say that what you want is love, then maybe you should be asking yourself why that is what you most want. It'd be a healthy question to ask. Why? Why do I want this? Many people want things, and I'm not going to say that it's right or wrong. I'll be the first to admit that that's kind of a weak thing for you to want from your heart. There's a book called The Key by Whitley Strieber. And the book is a transcription of a conversation Whitley Strieber once had. In this book, it is mentioned that oftentimes the people who are the most materialistic are people who have spent many lifetimes failing to get whatever they most needed. And since they have failed so many times at getting the things they wanted most, on a soul level, they feel like a failure. And so they try to compensate for it by surrounding themselves with nice things. It's very easy to look down on overly materialistic people. If this really is the truth, then their materialism is a cry for help. I can't help it but feel pity for someone like that. Of course, this is the kind of person who would despise the idea of you feeling pity. But it is what I feel. But some people do want things. But if this is the case, and the whole reason that you're seeking material possession is because on the soul level you feel like a failure, then even in that case, material things are not what you really want. What you really want is to feel like a success. Notice I used the term feel like a success. I could have used the term not feel like a failure. But the problem with using that term is your subconscious has its own language. And in your own subconscious, the language of positive statements are far more powerful than negative statements. If you're wanting to change who you are, if you're wanting to accomplish something new and great in your life, then the power of the statement, I want to feel like a success, is by far more useful than saying I don't want to feel like a failure. Saying that you want to feel like a success, that empowers, it emboldens. It speaks to your subconscious mind in a language that it understands about what you want. Saying that you don't want to feel like a failure does not do that. The subconscious kind of interprets that as a useless, forgettable statement with no real meaning. So that's an important thing to keep in mind when you're asking the question, what do you really want? You need the answer to be a positive statement. It can't be a negative statement. It has to be, I do want this. It should never be, I do not want that. Because I do not want that is a weak statement. Your mind will ignore it. So what do you really want? What do I really want? One of the big things that I want is actual freedom. I don't want to sit around saying that I'm free because the television tells me to. That is the real reason why so many people say that they are free. The television set tells you that you're free often enough. The radio tells you that you're free often enough. The internet tells you that you're free often enough. And you must be free, right? Well, no. No. You can ask yourself the tough questions and determine if you're really free. For example, One trait that a free society must have is it must have the freedom to opt out of the society should you choose. And ask yourself, does the free society that you live in allow you to opt out? I'm willing to bet the answer to that is no. Here in the United States, what happens if you try to opt out of society? You still get charged taxes, which taxes are not a bad thing, but you'll still get charged taxes, and you will still be imprisoned and or have your property taken from you if you fail to pay them. This society does not allow you to opt out of it. And even beyond taxes, let's not talk about taxes. Let's talk about having a home. You will not be allowed to have a home if you try to opt out of this society. You won't even be allowed to sleep on the ground if you try to opt out of this society. So all I'm saying is, a society is not free simply because it repeatedly tells you it's free. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that the United States is a tyranny. I view it more in terms of being a minimum security prison when compared to a maximum security prison. But back to the point, one of the main things that I really want is actual freedom. I want to truly be free. I don't want to simply believe that I'm free because television tells me I'm free, and it tells me that I live in a free country and I choose to believe that. I want to actually be free. I suspect it's my love of freedom that is the real reason why I'm still a bachelor. I've long held the belief that being single is better than being with the wrong woman. I've met several good women that I turned down simply because I did not want a relationship. I enjoyed the freedom of being single, and I was afraid of losing that. And I don't believe that it was the wrong decision. It was right. What do you really want? What does your heart tell you that you really want? What do you really want more than anything else? As for myself, I do want a relationship, but it's got to be with the absolute right person. I am better off single than with the wrong person. I definitely want freedom. Probably the reason why I've spent so much of my life making certain that I don't owe anybody anything. It's because I want the freedom of being able to simply leave should I choose. I don't want a mortgage. I definitely want freedom. Freedom is an important part, and it must be true freedom. And I want the human race to make it. Deep down inside, I think that's the biggest reason why I'm bearing so much of my soul in these recordings and then posting them on the internet where anyone can hear them. It's because I want the human race to make it. This is important to me. It's okay if you think I'm a whack job. It's okay if you think I'm messed up. What's not okay is that the human race keeps doing what it's been doing. I'd say that's what I want more than anything else. That seems to be my sole mission. I need to do my part to make the human race a kinder, more loving species. We need to love each other more, and I think that's what I really want more than anything else. That resonates most with my heart. But what do you want? What is the one thing that you were created to achieve? And please don't stop at the shallow, easy answer. Whatever answer you threw out just now, really look at that answer. Link into your heart and look at the answer you gave. What do you want? And ask yourself, why? Why did I say that I want this? Is this what I really want? Or is the thing that I really want something that this thing will get me? What do I really want? Well, I've been sitting on the porch swing at my house for about the last 30 minutes. So much for making this short. I just need to give up on making any of these short. I need to go inside and go to bed. I love you all, and I want you to spend time on these two concepts. First of all, what do you want? What do you really want? I'm not talking about some intellectual idea about what you've decided you want. Look into your heart and find out, what is it that you really want? The other thing I want you to keep in mind, as I discussed earlier, always remember, the last thought on your mind before you go to sleep programs you for the next day. You are always, every single night when you go to sleep, you always cast a spell on yourself in order to decide what your following day and night will be like. So make certain that you cast a good spell on yourself. Tonight, when you go to bed, every night when you go to bed, it's not enough to say don't go to bed angry. Turn it into a positive statement. When you go to bed, you are thinking about what? What are you thinking about? What do you want to cast that spell on yourself for? Now that I think about it, both of these are actually the same subject. They are not two separate ideas that I want to leave you with at all. It's one idea. What is the one thing that you really want? And tonight when you go to bed, cast a spell on yourself with your final thought that will allow you to achieve whatever it is you most want. And I'm going to leave you with that. I love you very much. Good night.